Hey, Shalom, Mashpaka. Yabrakam Mashak Shai. Most I bless you all. Keep you all making space to shine upon you. It is Kadash. So, Kadash Shalom. All right, peaceful new moon. We're officially in the new moon phase. And I just want to go over some scriptures, spend some time with some Mashpaka, spend some time with the family, talk about a few things. You know how I go. So, we are in a safe environment. I've recently gotten out of Facebook jail, which, oh wow. Which, you know how that goes. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the Banya Ash'al International since I can't go live on there. And all right. There we go. Okay. So, all praise the Most High. I got my buddies, man. I got my trusty Saparium with me, man. And I gotta say, man, the water to all the Mashpakayim. Thank you to all the family members that help support this ministry, man. You know, I had a dream about one of the sisters, man. I had a dream one of the sisters, she was teaching, and I was in the crowd, and I was like, wait a minute. Is she supposed to be teaching? And then I was listening to her. I was like, oh, man, she's doing pretty good. I was like, all right, then, go, sister. Don't ask me. That's what it was. All right. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Kadash Shalom. Anya Bakah, I love you. All right. We're going to look at a few things real quick. But first, we're going to wait. Like they say, climb on in here. Whatever. All right, so Kadash Shalom. It's new moon. It is new moon. And for those of you who don't know, I was born on the cusp in between Taurus and Gemini. All right. I was born on the cusp in between Taurus and Gemini. So for all of you so-called Geminis, now don't be confused. I am not talking about astronomy, but astrology. All right. So there's nothing wrong with knowing under which constellation you were born up under. It's called the Matzarath. Okay. Some people call it the Mazarath, or the Mazarath is like the story of the circle of the constellations in the sky, or like the story. Some people say it's the story of Yahushua in the sky. I am learning about it, and while I learn, you know, I'll be circumspect. But I'm not too convinced. You know, I started really looking into it, and I was like, oh, that's a great point, the Mazzaroth. All right. So for those of you who don't know, I was born on the cusp in between Taurus and Gemini. So we just came out of the month of the Bull. Now we are officially in the month of the two. The one is supposed to be one, but two was so-called Gemini. Now people like they give Gemini a bad rep. They be like, oh, you know, I hate hearing this, but they say Gemini is two-faced, and that's just not true. Like I'm one of the most non-two-faced people, even though I have different. Oh man, I think Gemini is more like that. Like we'll be talking about something, and then we'll be like, wait a minute, squirrel, you know. Or we can be dual natured, you know, like we can be dual natured, but I don't think two-faced is a good thing at all, you know. But I do know this. When I was younger, I used to look really hardcore into whole constellation, you know, astronomy, astrology. Like I used to look really hard into that stuff. Even so, to the point to where it went over to witchcraft, and I was like probably 11, 12. I was probably like 11, 12. So I would be at the library for hours. And this library I used to go to, it was like a Harry Potter library. I ain't even gonna lie. It was in Kansas City, and sometimes, you know, I didn't get picked up from school, or sometimes I would miss the bus, and I would just be at the library for hours. And this library was really weird. Like it was an old brick library, and it had the large stones, and you had to go up the spiraling stairs to go up to each level, and like you go around the corner and the librarian, she'd just be sitting there staring at you, you know, and or she'd be reading. Like I remember these things because I stayed in the library when I was little. So long story short, I used to go through these books, and I remember, you know, reading about the constellations. I remember reading about, you know, these different symbols because I thought it was so cool to learn or to see about these symbols or constellations in the sky. And I still think it is. I still think it is, you know. You know, you said just busy at times. You know, I like to think, yeah, just busy at times, right? All right. Not two-faced, just different personality. No, I wouldn't even say different personality. Same person, same personality. You know, just we think differently, all right? So, but that's everybody. That's you know, everybody has their own thing. All right, anywho, get back to it. So that's funny. So to get back to it, Kadosh Shalom to everybody. It's new moon. That's the base of this conversation. It's new moon. So we're gonna be talking about new moon. We're gonna talk about the phases of the moon and how some people consider this phase to be new moon that we're in, which I wholeheartedly believe it is. I'm not convinced that waxing crescent is new moon. I'm just not convinced. Let me show you all something. Let me do a screen share real quick. All right, we're gonna go through the portal of infinite screens. Whoa, a whole bunch of screens on there. All right, so check this out. So these are the different lunar phases. These are different phases of the moon. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 on this chart. All right, and as you see, it says moon phases, but you might also notice something interesting is because it's in Japanese. Now, here's something that's interesting. The reason why I have it in Japanese is because this is the word I want to look at right here, which is shinjetsu, all right? S-H-I-N, shinjetsu. This literally means like heart. And then jetsu is a moon, all right? So, or heart moon. So the symbol that's for heart moon or new moon is shinjetsu. All right. Now, a lot of Israelites believe that this phase, when they see the first section of this phase, that it's new moon. That's actually not true. When they see the first section of this moon, this is called waxing crescent. And when they see this phase, that means that we just come out of this phase. So there's some Israelites who will completely ignore shinjetsu, or they will completely ignore this phase as if it does not exist because we cannot see it. But the reality of it is this phase happens. And when it happens, it usually comes, well, it always, not usually, it always comes after this phase. This phase is called waning crescent. It's so important to learn the luminary phases so that you will be able to tell time for yourself. So you'll be able to tell the phases for yourself. Now, people say, well, if you can't see new moon, how do you know it's there? I think that's a really childish question. I think that's like a bubblegum in a dish. You know, like, I think it's just a childish question. And the way that you know, let me ask you all, if this phase, you can't see it, right? But you know it's coming. How do you know when it's going to be, because now you're projecting. How do you know when it's going to be new moon or shinjetsu, new moon? And this is so funny. So that's my question. How do you know that it's going to be new moon if you can't see the so-called dark moon phase, all right? So let me get a couple answers on that question, please. Baba Kushah, if anybody would like to, Baba Kushah, please answer that question. All right, so again, look at this, shinjetsu. Shinjetsu, now remember this is Japanese, so when people tell you, hey, that's Eastern, man, you're thinking like a white man. I think like, I mean, that's Western, man. You think like a white man, and I use Eastern people sources, people that are more like us. I don't think like the white man. I thought that was the dumbest, most childish thing to say to a brother, man. I was like, man, bro, how you gonna play me like that, man? Bruce said that to me, and when he said that, I just lost confidence. I was like, you know what? Fine, so be it. I just cut it off. Was like, you know what? Let me just keep learning. So if somebody says to you, thinking that the dark moon is called new moon is a Western way of thinking, they're not accurate in their words. Okay, I'll just say it like that. They're not accurate in their words because we obviously know that the Japanese people, which we teach, are the children of Ammon and the children of Moab, the two daughters of Lot, Moab and Ammon. So, and I don't mind saying it, it's kind of like a race of Down syndrome. And if you don't like it, I'm not trying to be offensive, but the reality of it is, there's very similar traits between family members with Down syndrome and then the Japanese and the Chinese culture, Korean, Laotian. Yeah. So also when we read the story of Lot and his two daughters, that's I'll leave it at that because I want to stay on subject. All right. So But these are Eastern cultures. Well, and then somebody might say, well, they're not the children of Lot and Ammon. They're the children of Japhet. Okay, well, even if you say they're the children of Japhet, that's still Eastern. So let's look at this Japanese word, which is shinjitsu, which says, in this phase, the sun, moon, and earth align so that the moon's light is shielded by the earth, and the moon remains unseen. Now, the moon remains unseen for 1 day. After that 1 day, she starts to receive a small, thin sliver of light that can barely be seen with the naked eye. This is still a new moon because she hasn't gone completely into the waxing crescent phase. So even though that sliver is so thin after the first initial day of her being invisible, even that first sliver is so thin you can barely see it with the naked eye, that phase is still there. It is complete robbery and an insult on people's intelligence to tell people that you don't count that phase or that phase just don't exist. There's people that say that during the Shinjitsu moon, during the new moon, this phase right here, there's people that say that during this phase, you don't count those days. Well, that is utterly retarded to the umpteenth power, all right? And no offense to retarded. I'm a little bit retarded myself. Y'all got a little bit retarded. That is utterly ridiculous. I got a whole list of years of me being in special ed classes. So I can say that. Retarded. That is retarded to think that you don't count these days. I think Sakari, matter of fact, I know Sakari says it, which is a name that you really want to look into. You know, it's not a good name to be called, but whatever, you know, nothing against the little brothers that's in the school, you know, but the leadership got some serious things that really spiritually need to be worked out. All right. Point is this right here. I know for a fact that that's something that I've heard Sakari say, not all members, but certain leadership, that you don't count this phase or this day, you don't count because it's like, what? You don't count this day? That's like taking 2 days off of entire account. That's literally taking like 2.5 days off a calendar of your life. Well, you tell that to a person who's given birth. What about the people that are born during Shinjitsu moon? Does that mean they weren't born on that day? What about the people that are in prison on this day? Does that mean they're really, well, we don't count this time because it's dark moon, it's new moon, so you're not getting that time taken off your sentence. That makes no sense. Please don't let nobody tell you don't count this phase. That is utterly ridiculous. Now, even though this phase, she's also called the invisible moon, you will see a sliver even thinner than this. This isn't even small enough. You will see a sliver of light even thinner than this one. I guess they did this because, you know, you had to give you enough to see, but the sliver will actually be way back here. And then she'll gradually go brighter, and she'll get brighter, and then she'll get first quarter, and then she'll go, you know, through her respectable phases all the way until she's full. All right. So I, for myself, I praise the Most High. I do have the 8 significant phases of the moon memorized to where I don't have to look at a calendar. I can look up at the moon, and I even challenge my shpachaya. I even challenge my family. I look up at the moon, my family, and I say, hey, what phase is that? If y'all watching on Facebook, you're watching on YouTube, make sure y'all share this out so that the people can see. Don't just be the only person having the ability or privilege of being able to see this because we're sharing information. Make sure y'all share this out through our Facebook, Messenger, YouTube, all that good stuff, you know, so that other people can be aware and that they can also learn, because somebody might not know it's new moon. I know new moon kind of crept up on me. I was like, oh, it's new moon. Oh, yeah. I knew that. All right, so make sure y'all share this out. Help others to be a part of it. If you're a part of the House of Karatazaya, make sure you tag or message each person that's in House Karatazaya so that they can be informed also, all right? Don't be the only one sitting there, you know, knowing it and not helping other people to know, okay? All right, so that's those are my instructions. All right, my instructions and requests. All right, Larry, what they say, like, share, and subscribe. All right, only thing I need is the special effects, man. I should start doing these videos with special effects and stuff, man. I'll get more views and boom, explosions and stuff like that. And, you know, man, I just like to tell the truth. I don't got time to edit stuff. I just like to tell the truth. All right. Unless there was a sister out there that's in the truth that wanted to manage whenever I do these videos, and then she could do all the editing and stuff. That would be great, you know. I don't think I have any children that can do it yet. Or if there's any brothers, that'd be cool too. You know, whatever. I don't care. Let's get back to this. All right. Phases. All right. Let's get back to this. So we're looking at the lunar phases. All right. Let me take this off. All right. New moon. Let's build. All right. So let's go back to our screen share. Okay. So Shinjetsu. All right. Shinjetsu. These are the different phases. So don't, even somebody says, well, that's Western, that's a Western way of thinking. That tells you they're very immature and they're very ignorant for thinking that they know what you know. You know, I hate that, man. I hate it when people try to be like, you don't know something, but guess what? I know it. That is like the dumbest thing ever, man. And it still bothers my mind because it's like, you know, we're not supposed to be knocking each other down. We're supposed to be building each other up, you know. So let's get back to this. Shinjetsu is the phase. The sun, moon, and earth align, so that the moon's light is shielded by the earth, and the moon remains unseen. Though it is dark, you can still see a thin sliver of the border where the moon should be. So the sliver is so thin that you can't see her, but you know it's like, hey, the moon is still there. She hasn't disappeared. Now watch this. The second moon day, a slender crescent on the right-hand side of the moon. So again, and it goes through each phase, you know, for waxing crescent, you know, for waxing gibbous, for third quarter, for full moon. Well, let's go through the phase together real quick. You have new moon, you have waxing crescent, you have first quarter, you have waxing gibbous, you have full moon, you have waning gibbous, you have waning crescent, then you have new moon. So these are the 8 phases of the moon. Now, those 8 phases can be broken down into different sizes. A lot of Israelites got thrown off because they started studying other things that gave them what feels like is a validation. One of those things is right here called the Book of Enoch. Okay, so the Book of Enoch is something that really threw a lot of Israelites off. All right, by R.H. Charles. R.H. Charles was a Gentile. He was a scholar. He put together a lot of works that he translated from Hebrew. But here's the problem. We know that R.H. Charles did not translate the Book of Enoch from Hebrew. How do we know? Because the scriptures are not in totality from the book of Hebrew. From the Book of Enoch, okay? So when you're looking at the Book of Enoch, we're in chapter 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 71, 72, 73. So in the Book of Enoch, chapter 73, oh my goodness, that's a lot of books. 73 chapters in the Book of Enoch? That's ridiculous. Well, let me go to my Book of Enoch. Where's my Book of Enoch? Oh, man. I don't got my Enoch with me. Nope, it's not here right now with me at this moment. I got to find it, man. And then I got to present it. You know what I can do? I can do this for you. Let's see what we have. We have Book of Enoch 79. Oh, look, we got it. So check this out. Book of Enoch 79. Let's see if we can find it in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Found it. Now, here's the thing. You got 79. Now, you have 79 so far chapters in the Book of Enoch, right? The problem with that is that it's not in Hebrew. Not only is it not in Hebrew, but it's in the Ethiopic text. Not only is it in the Ethiopic text, it has never been found in Hebrew, except for the except for the Judean, not Egyptian, the Judean Dead Sea Scrolls. This is all that's been found in the so-called Book of Enoch. Now, here's the problem. This isn't enough to tell you the constellations. This is only a fragment that's been found on the Book of Giants, all right? And then this other side, like this side over here is the Book of Giants. Then over here is like the constellations. Now, I actually have this book, so when I'm reading it, it's in fragments. You can't put it together. It's not enough information. So the people that are reading out of the Book of Enoch and saying, well, look, it tells you right here in the Book of Enoch, they can't prove to you that this is, now I'm telling you this from an even level, not from a biased point. I'm not speaking from a biased viewpoint. I'm speaking from a truthful viewpoint. When I ask somebody, okay, show me where the sliver moon or the first moon sliver is in the Bible, they will always go to Enoch chapter 79, the book of Enoch, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 71, 72, 73. 73. All right, I apologize. All right, I'll be having to count them like, yeah, okay, wait, which one is that again? All right, they'll primarily go to the same sources and be like, well, hey, here's our proof. But unfortunately, you can't validate the book of Enoch. Look at this. One of the most important apocrypheric works of the Second Temple period is Enoch. According to the biblical narrative, Genesis chapter 5, verse 21 to 24, Enoch lived only 365 years, far less than other patriarchs in the period before the flood. Enoch walked with Allahiah and was no more, for Allahiah took him. Now, the book of Enoch is a pseudepigraphal work, a book which claims to be by biblical character. All right? The book of Enoch was not included in either the Hebrew or most Christian biblical canons, right? But could have been considered a sacred text by sectarians. The original Aramic, like that's Abraham version, was lost until the Dead Sea fragments was discovered. So it shows you that, yes, there was a writing considered to be Enoch, but unfortunately, this is all you get. So when people are taking you to this book and it's like, this is chapter 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 71, 72, 73, how? How, Sway? How? The problem is that you got to be honest. It can't be validated. 79, Slack 79. All right, how am I counting that wrong? 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 71, 72. I'm counting it wrong. All right, so, but the point is, it can't be validated. And that's why our people have to be circumspect. Listen, we don't count everything out. All right, we leave room for, for understanding. All right, but just because somebody presents the book of Enoch, and as y'all see, this is a really easy Wikipedia search. All right, very easy Wikipedia search, and you can go to other resources. All right, now look at this. Some scholars attribute Second Enoch to the unidentified Jewish text, where others regard it as a work of first-century Christians. Some consider it later Christian work. It is not included in either Jewish or Christian canon, so it wasn't found in Paleo-Hebrew, and that's the problem. And the one small section that was found in Paleo-Hebrew, because we got to give credit where credit is due, you can't get a whole book of constellations out of this. So people that are presenting this, they want it to be, but it's hard for them to actually show where it came from, okay? All right, except that it is heavily utilized by Bogums. I don't even know what that means, but I don't even know who this is. I have to look these people up, but I have to do it on the second time. Second Enoch is distinct from the book of Enoch, which is known as First Enoch, and there is also an unrelated Third Enoch. The numbering of these texts has been applied by scholars to distinguish each one from the others. So it shows you that there's different sections of Enochs that are considered to be, what our people are looking at, all right, to calculate. The problem is, listen, the problem is you can't prove it. I can write a book of Enoch, okay? But it doesn't mean that it's actually the book of Enoch that was written by Enoch. Now watch this. That was on Second Enoch. Now let's hear what we hear on First Enoch. Now, do I have the book of Enoch? I do. I don't go by it though. I've tried to go through and line things up, and there's nothing wrong with my comprehension. The Most High made me very, very witty. I got to be all praise, honor, glory to him. He made me very clever, and I'm very grateful to him for that. All right, by Shem Mashiach Yahushai, I petition, I pray that he takes not his hand off of me, because without him, I am nothing. We are nothing. I will say this. The Father allowed me to be able to comprehend things very quickly, and I don't comprehend things the way that other people do. You might have to say it to me a couple times. While you talking to me, my brain is like process. It's like, okay, what about this? And I'll be looking at a person, and then once I hit that one marker, ding, wait a minute. That don't make sense because it contradicts this. All right. So I could write a book of Enoch, but it doesn't mean it's the book of Enoch. Okay. Now, wait, the book of Enoch. All right. Now, watch this. Let's see what this says. All right. Now, again, I am not attempting to slander anyone or attempting to put anyone's studies down. That's not my objection, my objective at all. All I want to do is be fair. I want to be fair with you so that you can see both sides. All right. Maybe they didn't tell you this. Maybe you don't know why we say that the interlunar phase is the new moon, because it is. And that phase is before waxing crescent, which is 2.5 days old. When you see the first sliver of light, you're like, oh, well, that means you've just left the new moon phase. It doesn't mean you're going into it. It means you're coming out of new moon. All right. Look at this. The book of Hanach or Enoch, also first Enoch. Now look at this. It says what? It says Ge'ez. Ge'ez or Ge'ez. Hold on. What is Ge'ez or Ge'ez? All right. Look at this. An Ethiopic language redirects here, all right, for various languages spoken in where? In Ethiopia. Now, did the Ethiopians have a connection with us? They absolutely did. They absolutely did. But are the Ethiopians us? No, they are not. They are the children of Cush. Now, some people say that Israelites mingled in and then we taught them. I don't have no problem with that. But here's my issue. It's not found in Paleo Hebrew. Now, we know that the Ethiopians, they had a link to us. They had a connection to us. They believed in the Alahaya. They came from being pagans, just like the people of Nineveh. The people of Nineveh were pagans too. And then they all fasted and they all repented. So it's not impossible for for Hamites, Cushites, Edomites. It's not impossible for the Gentiles to do it. And by the way, please stop teaching everybody that the word Gentile means Israelites only. It does not. You have different types of Gentiles. You have national Gentiles, which have no inherited rights with us, but they're still believers. And then you have Israelites that are Gentile-minded. So yeah, Hamites, Gentiles, Cushites, Ishmaelites, Elamites, Moabites, Amorites, they will be joining on and clinging on to us. All right. So don't be cutting everybody off. Who you think gonna serve you in the new kingdom? Other Israelites? No. Is Israel a homeborn slave? So the Gentiles have to mingle in with us. You have to leave room for mercy because Yahweh took us back. All right. So with that being said, look at this. The book of Enoch, also known as Hanach, is an ancient Hebrew apocalyptic religious text ascribed by tradition to Enoch. So it's ascribed, it doesn't mean, and it says by tradition to Enoch. We have to use balance. The great grandfather of Noah or Noah. Enoch contains unique material on the origin of demons and Nephilim, why some angels fell from heaven, an explanation of why Genesis flood was morally necessary, and prophetic exposition of the 1,000-year reign of Messiah. So those are some of the subjects it talks about. Now, here's the problem, though. It was not, let me go ahead and just scroll down. All right. I'll send a link. It's easy. It's a Wikipedia search. You can do it for yourself. All right. Now watch this. All right. But I'll send a link. Check this out. Boom. And then you can see it for yourself. All right. No problem. All right. Here's the link. Check it out for yourselves. All right. Peace. All right. Lottie, baby. Hey, shalom, your father. Shalom. All right. Lottie, maybe, shalom. Hey, shalom, Byron. Hey, shalom, blessings, double honors, man. All right, somebody said Lottie may be busy at times. All right, I'll have to get back to that. All right, so if you want to, you can check this out for yourself. So here, now, watch this. It is not, the book of Enoch, it is not a part of biblical canon used by Jews apart from the Beta Israel or Ethiopian Jews. So the Ethiopian Jews, they use it, all right? While the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and Etruscan Orthodox consider the book of Enoch as canonical, other Christian groups regard it as non-canonical or non-inspired, but may accept it as having some historical or theological interest. Now, that's my stance. My stance is that I accept it as having some historical or theological interest. Now, I can't say everything that's in it I agree with, because I do not. All right? I do not agree with everything in it, but that's only because I'm not the end all be all. It's only because I can't validate it. Okay? I can't validate it. Now watch this. All right. No, look at this. No Hebrew version is known to have survived. The book itself attests that its author was Enoch before the biblical flood. The most complete book of Enoch come from the Ethiopic manuscripts, all right, written in Ge'ez, which were brought to Europe by James Bruce in the late 18th century and were translated into English in the 19th century. You see that? So this is why I can't for myself validate the book of Enoch. Now, I'm not against anybody who reads or, looks at it, because I also, like I said, I have a copy. I look at it, I read it, all right? But when I go to my Hebrew Judean Discovery Scrolls, which is also called the Dead Sea Scrolls, there is some scrolls of Enoch found. But this is the whole fragment. There may be some other small pieces. This is an image of the fragments that's found, okay? Fragment height, 17.5 centimeters. All right, length, 17.5 centimeters. All right, fragment B height. So fragment A and fragment B. All right, this is all that's been found, okay? So you can look these two up. So here's the information if you want to look up more on the Judean Discovery Scrolls, which is another name for the Dead Sea Scrolls. If you want to look up the Dead Sea Scrolls and find out more information on the book of Hanach or the book of Enoch, then there's the link for it. You find it right there, okay? All right, so again, can't really validate it, all right? Can't validate it. That's the problem. So let's look at it right here. All right. Enoch 1, you have verse 12, 13, 14, 13, and then Enoch 2. All right. This is what you have. So how do you get Enoch 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 71, 72, 70? How do you get all of this? How do you get all of this out of that? Then you go to the next chapter. It's still talking about the luminaries. Then you go to the next chapter. 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. All right. 75. All right. How do you get all of this out of that? You can't. It's impossible. It's because they're reading the Ethiopian text. I'm sorry. The Ethiopian text. That's why. Okay. But let's look at a few things. Now, that's just on Enoch alone, okay? But let's look at a few things. The Eastern culture, the children of Ammon, the children of Moab, they even considered Shinjetsu to be the dark phase moon. It is utterly ridiculous when people tell you that new moon is when you see this first phase. That phase, that's a renewed moon. She's being renewed. There's nothing wrong with saying that. She's a renewed moon, okay? Now, there's nothing wrong with understanding there's a difference between a new moon and a renewed moon, all right? Let me pull this up real quick. I'm gonna close that window right here. Now, this phase, this word right here is very important for everybody who wants to know more about the lunar phases, all right? This phase right here is in Latin. This is the same as Shinsetsu. This is called interlunium, okay? Interlunium. Interlunium is also called new moon. So I know that we say new moon regularly, and I think it's so funny that I wasn't hearing no other brothers talk about this, but then once they learned it, they was like, oh yeah, I already knew that. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Don't be fake. Don't be fake. You didn't know it. You didn't know it. You didn't know it. You didn't know it. What you did was after you learned it, then you started, after you heard it, you learned it, then you said, I already knew that, but you wasn't saying it before. Give credit where credit is due. All right? Don't be a schmuck. That looks terrible. Don't be a schmuck, man. Don't be like that. Look at this. New moon. All right? Let's look this up real quick, see what we get. Really easy Google search. Nothing too complicated. All right. Timeanddate.com. One of my favorite websites, because some of the same people who like to say waxing crescent phase is new moon, they will use this website And this website will tell you what phase new moon is. It will show you what phase new moon is. So we are currently in new moon. When you pull up new moon, you're not gonna get a bunch of strength. You're gonna get some pictures of waxing crescent, because waxing crescent comes immediately after new moon. Immediately after. All right. You can't see the new moon. There are two reasons why you can't see the new moon or the shinjetsu. The alignment of the sun, moon, earth leaves the side of the moon that faces the earth in darkness. This is called conjunction or syzygy. Now, what I like to do is take words. I like to look up words. Let's do syzygy first. Syzygy is a word that you have to know if you want to understand the moon, the lunar phases, which phase is new moon. Syzygy is an astronomy word, conjunction or opposite, especially of the moon with the sun. So syzygy is the opposite of full moon. Syzygy is the opposite of full moon. All right. Syzygy. Here's syzygy. You got the sun, the moon, and the earth all lining up. Okay. It's really easy. It's really easy. The people that are trying to hold on to waxing crescent, I don't want to go too far into some of those images because then I have to explain them. I don't want to explain them. Because some of them I just have to look up, just to be honest with you. I have to look up some of them. All right. Syzygy, a pair of things that are similar or related. So they're lined up. If you and your wife are in sync, your rib. If you and your woman are in sync, then you and your rib are in syzygy. If you and your children are in sync, you and your children are in syzygy. Your flow, your vibration on the same pattern. You and whatever, are in sync. You're in syzygy. Okay. So you can't see the moon because the moon and the earth are in conjunction and they're in syzygy. That's why people call also new moon, they call it inferior conjunction. The second reason, the new moon is up in the daytime sky. It rises and sets around the same time as the sun, bringing it too close to the sun's glare to be seen by the naked eye. All right. So the new moon phase, and again, let's do another one from time and date, man. Like this brother tried to show me new moon was not new moon. He went to time and date website. I said, it's right there. The time and date website shows you new moon is when the moon is dark. Brother was like, well, that's the white man's definition. Negro, you the one who brought us here. But look at this. Lunar calendar for Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Mecca. Hold on, wait a minute, because you might not know what Mecca, Saudi Arabia is. Let's look. So we just showed you. Let's see if we can get it to pull up. Oh, you mean Mecca and Saudi Arabia? You mean over there in the Eastern culture? You mean even over there in the Eastern culture, they consider the new moon in Saudi Arabia? Timeanddate.com. It's the same date that we got over here. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. New moon is when new moon is. Now, here go a book right here that I'm encourage everybody to get. Now, here's the problem with this book. It's a lexicon book and it's in Greek. I mean, it's in Russian. All right. No, it's in Latin. It's in Latin and Russian. Wait. Is this in? Yeah, I think this is in Russian. But I have the digital form of this book. I don't have the English form of it. I don't have the paperback form of it. But this is a book on the luminaries. All right. Now, what you can do is, even though I can't translate this book, I just don't know how. What you can do is you can take the words that's in this book that show you the moon or the lunar phases, and you can translate them. All right. If you feel like putting in that work. I feel like putting in that work because I like to know things. All right. So even though we've already shown you Shinjetsu, that's Eastern. All right. Now, here's another book that you can get. It's called Light in the Clouds. Light in the Clouds, Moon Phases. Here. I'll go to the link. Here's the link right here. Let me show you. Boom! The following is page 16 of Joyo. Uh-oh. What do we have here? Shinjitsu. All right. This is now, can I read this? No. But that's also why I have another link over here showing you what the phases are. Okay. So you can see the same characters. You can use this link and you can use the same characters. All right. You go to this book. All right. And it will show you, it breaks down the constellations. I mean, it breaks down the phase of the moon, but it breaks down them for you in Japanese. Okay. And it shows you the exact same thing. It shows you the exact same thing, the lunar phases, starting with the dark moon. This is basically like a Japanese ephemeris, okay? So let me show you this also. Let me get the link for you because if you're interested, look it up, all right? Now, the only reason I did this was because there was a brother that was like, that's Eastern. I mean, that's Western. You thinking like a white man. And I was so offended because I was like, I don't even want to say what I was thinking at that time. But I had to get over it, man. I had to really get over it and just be like, he don't know. He don't know, and he's saying other people don't know because he don't know. So I just had to leave it alone, man. But with timeanddate.com, if people timeanddate.com, if you choose to use this link, it's a very good link, and it's so funny. I mean, it literally shows you the phases. It tells you when the next new moons are gonna be. It tells you when the next first quarter is gonna be, when the next full moon. So for those of you who don't know, this is called an ephemeris. An ephemeris is a projection or a calculation of understanding when the next phases are going to be. All right? All right? I'm going to come back to this. But when we're learning about the ephemeris, all right. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. So this is helpful also along with the Lights in the Sky book. Okay, with the Lights in the Sky website. Like I said, can I read this? No, I cannot. But what I can do, well, at least not yet. All right, Shinetsu. See, look, name, Shinetsu. This is the full moon. All right. I'm sorry, not the full moon. This is the new moon. And on this link, as you see, you can't click onto it. So if you go here, you gotta copy paste. I mean, you can click on these things on the side. All right, but when it comes to this, you can't highlight, you can't copy paste. You gotta literally type them out. All right. So here goes this link to this website. All right. So if anybody tries to tell you, oh, well, that's how the Western people think. I think like the people from the East. Negro, the people from the East moved west. Man, it was just so annoying. I was like, come on, man, you can't really be like that. But yeah, he is. You know, yeah, sometimes they are. And it's so stupid because it's like, man, instead of saying let's learn together. And I'm not talking about, you know, anybody's level of intelligence. I'm talking about their inability to actually be fair without being biased or thinking that they know everything, because we don't, okay? Now, this word is very important, hemisphere. All right, I'm gonna get this real quick and I'm gonna show y'all something with this. All right, so the portion of the illuminated hemisphere that is visible to an observer can vary from 100% full moon, look at this, to 0% new moon. New moon, 0%. You got to understand the lunar phases, man. Man, you know what? I need to copy and paste that and share that and send that to somebody. I feel like I just copied and pasted something I'm supposed to be sharing. Let me go ahead. Hemisphere, all right? This word is important, all right? Because we're going to look at it, all right? So let's see. Boom. And then we're going to read it from an outside source book. Now, we're going to be also getting together, the Most High's will, this Kadash Day. All right, our family will be coming down from Columbus, Ohio, and in the process of coming to Columbus, Ohio, we'll be meeting, we'll be feasting together. So if you're in the city gates of Dayton, Ohio, and you want to keep the new moon with an Israelite community that has a good reputation, you know, we are truly a different family, man. You know, we leave room for people to grow, and also what we do is, you know, we don't cut nobody off just because, you know, they may have a difference of doctrine. We got to learn together. All right, so check this out. The word hemisphere, all right, half of a sphere. A half of the earth, usually divided into north and southern halves by the equator, into western and eastern halves by the imaginary line passing through the poles, and half of the celestial sphere. So it's half of the celestial sphere, which means the entire sphere, okay? So the hemisphere is half celestial. All right, let's get that real quick. All right. So celestial sphere, apparent surface of the heavens on which the star seems to be fixed for the purpose of establishing a coordinate system to mark the positions of the heavenly bodies. It can be considered a real sphere at an infinite distance from the earth. So it's the entire sphere, okay? Hemisphere is half, celestial sphere is the whole sphere. So this is something that shows us, I know a lot of people may believe that the earth is flat. I personally do not. And one of the reasons why I don't is because in the studies, we have taken time to learn. Let me see, I'm gonna see if I can pull this up online. If I can pull this up online, then I'll share it with y'all visually. All right. We're in, let me find the book. Hemispheres, the spheres. Hemisphere, hemispherica, is half of a sphere. The hemisphere above the earth is the part of the sky which is totally seen by us. The hemisphere below the earth cannot be seen as long as it is under the earth. So what does that show us? That shows us that there's two halves to the sphere. That shows us that the earth is a globe. It's not flat, okay? All right, so the course of the sphere, the spheres in the sky is formed by a round shape. Its center is the earth, enclosed equally on all sides. They say that the sphere has no beginning or end like a circle. It is not easily perceived when it begins or it ends. The philosophers introduce 7 heavenly regions of the world, that is, the planets, that the concordant motions of their globes. I just remember what my dream was about. Concordant motions of their globes. They mention that all are connected in their orbits, which are thought to be intertwined and to be turned backwards and to be carried about the opposite side in the motion of the other planets, the motion of that sphere. This sphere revolves on 2 axes. The northern, which never disappears, called the Boreas, and the southern, never seen, named the Astronautidus. All right. So when we're looking at the phases of the moon, we understand that by us being able to project, when we see the waning crescent phase, we can see that she's about to go into what's called the new moon phase. Okay. So waning crescent phase helps us to understand when waxing crescent is going to begin. And you know what's really funny? This chart right here, it's the same way that the Arab chart is. Like, I've seen the Arab chart. The Arab chart calculates 2.5 days before the next phase. But also St. John of Damascus calculates 2.5 days before we go into the next phase. Okay. So with that being said, you know, let's see, we have new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter. Then it's waxing gibbous, full moon. All right. Then from full moon, if you notice, each phase has a couple different days before it actually goes to the next phase. Now here you have new moon starting out, and then it's going to start over back on new moon. You have like 2 days of full moon, which you can see her full, and then you see she starts to get that thin sliver, right? So you have full moon, waxing gibbous. Well, it's supposed to be full moon, waxing gibbous, third quarter. No, that's not right. Something's not right about that. So waning, I'm sorry, it's like that. Waning, so waning, so okay, let me start over. So waxing, wait, I'm going the wrong direction. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, so the dark is on this side, so that would be waning crescent. All right. Okay, waning crescent, you have third quarter, and then, but it should be a waxing crescent after this. I don't understand how this chart is doing that. I gotta reevaluate how this chart is, because there should be a waxing crescent on both sides of the phase. Hold on 1 second. Chart phases of the moon. All right, let's get a couple images. Okay, I'm trying to find the best one to use for us, just to look at. Okay, let's use this one. All right. So now when you're looking at the new moon sits in between two parentheses. The one parentheses is waxing crescent. Just imagine, pick this phase up and put this phase over here. You have one parenthesis. The next parenthesis is waxing crescent. Put this phase over here. So the new moon literally sits in between two parentheses. You see that? The full moon sits between two dark parentheses. Put waxing gibbous over here and put waning gibbous over here and waxing gibbous over here. So both phases, full moon, you count 15 days from the time that you have full moon. Once you count that 15 days, you go all the way around, and then you get to this 15-day mark, and it's now new moon. So 30 days, all right, within that 30-day time frame, you have two primary celestial phases, which is new moon, dark moon, and then count when you get to new moon, you count like, so after today, I encourage you, I challenge you, try this. Count 15 days, and in 15 days, you'll have full moon. When you get to full moon, count another 15 days, and then you'll get all the way around to new moon. And each one of these phases will sit in between two parenthesis marks, which is waxing crescent and waning crescent and waxing crescent. When you get to full moon, it'll be right before waxing gibbous, which is a parenthesis on the dark side, and then she will be after that will be following waning gibbous. So with that being said, it's impossible to get this wrong. You see that? Two parentheses. So it's two parentheses on both sides. Okay? Waxing crescent, waxing gibbous, waning crescent, waning gibbous. Salute to Zaquan Parazah. Thank you, Zaquan Parazah, for taking time and sitting down and showing me the constellation, showing me the moon phases. Salute to all of the elders who took time, who don't mind sitting and sharing and showing, you know, what are these things? Why is it this? All right. Breaking it down in Hebrew. All right. Another thing I want to look at is this right here. All right, moon phases, lunar calendar for, look at this, Benjamin Banneker Park. Benjamin Banneker Park is a location that's named after a Negro, named after a man. Do you know who this man is? This man is Benjamin Banneker. Watch this. Benjamin Banneker, astronomer. Boom! Benjamin Banneker, the famous astronomer. All right, he started when he was at the age of 17. All right. Let me see if I can find a I was about to see if I can find like a quick YouTube video on him. Well, this looks like a quick one. Let's see. We can pull this up and see what we can find. Let me pause this real quick.
Soothed. There's before,
all right.
Then there's Aquaphor.
Get that Aquaphor. The Aquaphor works.
I am a business hotel. I eat, sleep, and breathe efficiency. I'm looking for some.
Benjamin Banneker can best be described as a mold breaker. He was born in 1731 in Ellicott's Mills, Maryland. As a child, he attended a Quaker school, one of the few institutes that offered integrated education, and he put what he learned into practice. At just 15, he developed an irrigation system for his family farm. When he was 21, a friend gave him a pocket watch, which he promptly took apart to figure out how it worked. But he was not simply satisfied by understanding the mechanism. He needed to make his own. So Banneker built his own clock from scratch. And it was so well engineered and the mechanism so precise that it struck on the hour, every hour, for the next 40 years.
Something else that's important to mention, that Benjamin Banneker made this clock 100% with a pocket. I can't say 100%. I'd strike that from the record. Benjamin Banneker made this clock from a pocket knife. I don't know if I'm pretty sure he used other tools. Had to probably use other tools. Benjamin Banneker carved this knife out of a pocket watch. All right. A pocket knife. And he modeled it after the watch that he took apart out of wood.
Banneker's clock gained him a reputation, catching the eye of a famous clockmaker, Joseph Ellicott. He helped Ellicott build a complicated clock, and in return, Ellicott loaned him scientific books and instruments for astronomical study. He taught himself everything there was to know about science and math, particularly astronomy. He began using what he learned to predict weather patterns and plan agricultural methods. He even predicted a solar eclipse in 1789.
Stop. So if Benjamin Banneker, the astronomer, predicted a solar eclipse, right? This young man didn't have no app. We got apps today. We can use the apps. You can go to US Navy, .com, the naval website, and they will show you the constellations. They'll show you the time frame of the star. There's nothing wrong with using that. Don't be simple and be like, I use my eyes only. I only use my eyes. See, what did we have when we were back in them days? We didn't have apps. Our grandfathers used it. Yes, we did have apps. We had apparatuses that would help us to calculate the constellations. All right. Look at this? What do you think this is? Well, you might not know. I don't even know the name of it. But but Benjamin Banneker, he had astronomy tools. The astronomers from the ancient days had tools that they used. All right. I seen one. It was like a stick with a V on the top, and it had a plum hanging down the middle. That was an old school app. Okay, that was the first apps. Okay, so if Benjamin Banneker was able to calculate a solar eclipse, shouldn't I take his advice on when the new moon is? Let's watch. Keep that in mind.
Solar eclipse in 1789, successfully contradicting many notable minds of the time. Seeing the practical applications of his work, Banneker began publishing Benjamin Banneker's Almanac.
Stop. And this is why I wanted to come and show like something like this, because Benjamin Banneker, this Negro, this Hebrew, he wrote an almanac. Now, I can say I've watched Zaquan Parazah write out ephemeris. And I was like, yo, Zaquan, show that to me. Explain it to me. He took me out under the sky in Mexico. He was like, you see this? And he's explaining this stuff. And it was so cool because like he just smiled and was like, you'll get it. He's like, don't worry, you'll get it. He's like, it's okay, you'll get it. And I'm still getting it. I've seen Zaquan Nathan Yala write out an ephemeris. They did the calculations. And you want to tell me that they're not qualified to be? Well, nobody said that, all right? It's an injustice. That's what it is. It's a flat out injustice, all right? Zaquan Nathan Yala and Zaquan Parazah are two of the only elders that I've seen in this lifetime being a part of Mashrar Yasha Allah who has written out ephemeris, calculated stars, and they didn't use the book of Enoch, all right? They use math. They use the Bible. And I have confidence in Benjamin Banneker's writings. I have confidence in seeing the elders that have done it. And I'm like, and I looked, I was like, yo, you're right. I was like, yo, so I'm watching too. I'm like, Thursday, if it's waxing crescent or if it's waning crescent, I'm going to be like, you Negroes was off. It was new moon. The point of saying that is to say, 1795, Benjamin Banneker put out the almanac. All right. Beginning the third after leap year. There are elders, Zaquan Karatza Allah. All right. There's elders who understand astronomy also. All right. We need those other elders, whoever they may be. All right. The point is, and Benjamin Banneker calculated and he understood the constellations. I'm going to take his word over your elder that's going off of the book of Enoch.
In 1792, and it was a wild success. It contained information on weather patterns, farming practices, and was basically a how-to guide for agricultural life. The almanac also included political writings, such as a plan of a peace office for the United States, which caught the attention of Thomas Jefferson, and the two exchanged several letters. Banneker even implored Jefferson about the evils of slavery, advocating for abolition.
Banneker clowned the hell out of Jefferson. He was calling them all kind of hypocrites and everything. Y'all gotta look that letter up.
When it came time for President Washington to appoint a commission to survey the site of the new capital, Washington, D.C., Jefferson made sure Banneker's name was on the short list.
So the same president that Banneker was rebuking is the same president that suggested that Banneker be a surveyor for Washington, D.C. You know, all those angles, and they said, man, we got all these Messianic signs and stuff. I don't know why, but I'm telling y'all, it has to be some reason when Benjamin Banneker helped them to survey the streets for D.C. that all those angles are there. I don't know why, but you can thank the elder Zaquan Benjamin Banneker for that. The same one who calculated that the new moon is dark moon, not waxing crescent.
Banneker worked closely with French architect Pierre L'Enfant to plan the capital. But L'Enfant was notoriously difficult to work with and was known for his explosive temper. As a result, L'Enfant was dismissed from his post before planning could be completed. And in what could have been a devastating move, L'Enfant took a year's worth of the plans with him. Just when it seemed that the team would have to start from scratch,
just Patty, the white man Patty,
Banneker saved the day and the capital. In 2 days, Banneker recreated L'Enfant's designs entirely from memory.
Boom, man! I'm gonna take Benjamin Banneker's. I'm gonna take his counsel on the lunar phases over the just because somebody read it out of the book of Enoch. You cannot validate Enoch. I just showed y'all that. And then these dudes are still being simple. It's like you an elder. You supposed to be like, you know what? That makes sense. Wow, that's a great point, young man. You're right. I can't validate the book of Enoch. Maybe I should reconsider my stance on teaching people the wrong day for new moon.
He redrew every street and stream and building, effectively saving the capital as we know it. Banneker died in 1806 at the ripe old age of 75. So next time you're in Washington, D.C., the next time your dad refers you to the Farmer's Almanac for all the information you could ever need, remember that we owe that and so much more to Benjamin Banneker.
So if you've ever heard of the Farmer's Almanac, Benjamin Banneker, as you see, was the one who the Most High used to invent that. This is a pretty good video. I'm glad we found this one. Let's hear out the rest of what she got to say. The Farmer's Almanac, keep that in mind. My mother, she told me in the elder days, you know, in the days when she was younger, she said that a lot of the elders that she knew, they would keep the Farmer's Almanac right next to their Bible. You know, a lot of them were farmers. You know, they had to understand, you know, the weather. They had to understand, you know, the right times to grow, you know, etc. All right. So again, let's finish watching out this video. It can't be too much longer.
The first African-American scientist.
I wouldn't say he was the first. I mean, okay, that's pretty good. Okay, that was it. All right. Not hating on him, but I wouldn't say he was the first. I mean, Abraham, you know, he learned from the Chaldeans, and Abraham taught the Hamites. I'm going to go ahead and download that video, man. That was pretty good, man. And Abraham taught the Hamites the knowledge of the Chaldeans. All right. So now, just with that right there, let's Luna Nova, Moon phases, Shinjitsu. All right, Shinjitsu. Let's get this. Moon phases, new moon. All right, Benjamin Banneker astronomy. All right. So I'm going to get this page and I'm going to share this with you all, just in case you don't know. All right. Hold on, let me see. Benjamin Banneker, Farmer's Almanac.
According to ThoughtCo, Banneker is best known for his 6 annual Farmer's Almanacs, which he published between 1792 and 1797. In his free time, Banneker began compiling the Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia Almanac and Ephemeris.
Ephemeris. Now, here's the point. Ephemeris is very important. Now, what is an ephemeris? Let me show you what an ephemeris is. Now, I'm gonna put Benjamin Banneker and I'll just put ephemeris there. All right. And again, I didn't know what an ephemeris was until, you know, my elders showed me. He sat down, he wrote it out, you know, and then when I heard some of the other people speaking against, I'm like, yo, I never seen you put in this work. I seen him put in this work. Like this, you know how much discipline it takes to sit down and write out the time and the date of the constellations, you know, when we're going to be leaving from the, you know, the month of, you know, Taurus. Now we're going into the month of Gemini, you know. So an ephemeris is very important to know and to look up. And you can get an app on your phone. You get an ephemeris app on your phone. I got one. I actually paid for it, man. You know, so everybody look this up too, because you need to know what an ephemeris is. So why we say Benjamin Banneker first? Because he was the brew that put it together, that put one together. Look at this constellation and time and date, you know, right? I've seen these. And I was like, what you doing, a lottery? Hey, cuz, what you sitting there writing out the lottery for? He's like, nah, it's an ephemeris. I said, a what? And if you writing out an ephemeris, what is an ephemeris? In astronomy and celestial navigation, and ephemeris, plural, ephemerides, is a book with tables that give you a trajectory of naturally occurring astronomical objects as well as artificial satellites in the sky, i.e. position and possibly velocity over time. All right. An ephemeris. So if you know about how to write out an ephemeris, if you understand that Benjamin Banneker, all right, the Hebrew who put this together, if you understood that he showed us and he taught us the phases of the moon also, and when Benjamin Banneker showed us, when he wrote his Farmer's Almanac, he did it with calculating the new moon being the dark moon. Shouldn't it be better to take his advice over just the book of Enoch? Now, I'm not trying to discredit the book of Enoch, but we already showed that it can't be proven to be a entirely solidified book. All right. Is there a book of Enoch? Well, I'm pretty sure there is. I just don't believe that we have it. And of course, the portion of it that we do have, it can't be proven. All right. It can't be proven that that's the actual one. We showed that it came from the Etruscan Ethiopian text. And the only portion of the book of Enoch that's been found came from the 19th centuries. We're in the 20th century right now. Is that right? 21st century, something like that. So it's new. It's new. When it was later translated and it was shown, or 18th century, when it was later translated and it was shown, it wasn't proven that it was written in the text of the people who the Most High gave his instructions to. Now, we know that Noah was a preacher of righteousness. All right. Noah understood the law, statutes, and commandments. We understand that our forefathers from the beginning, that they understood. Right now, you got to go with the hard proof evidence that you got. And whenever somebody tells you that you're thinking like a Western, nah, no, you're not. Just be fair, be honest, be just. All right. Don't be one-sided. All right, so I got plenty of stuff that I want to bring out. Let me go ahead and yield the floor on this real quick. All right, and I'll wait to see if anybody has anything that they want to bring out. Okay. Let me show y'all this, man. Benjamin Banneker's 1973 Almanac and Ephemeris. Let me show y'all this. You can actually, I'm going to see if we can get this PDF. I just was looking it up while we was talking. All right. Boom. All right, let's see. Complete. I wonder if is this for download? If it is, that'd be great, man. Yeah, download PDF. Let's see if I can get that. All right. And again, we'll wait and see if anybody got anything that they want to bring out. All right. Look like it's pretty laid back day. My pine one. What time is it? I almost did like this. My pine one. What time is it? I am about to go and get ready to get with the Mashpachai and get ready to get with the families. I don't like sitting still for too long, you know, especially if it's a beautiful day. I need to be outside. I need to be swinging. Oh, it's 10:28. Man, the day is getting late. It's 10:28, man. 10:30. Man, all praise. All right, so with that being said, I need to comment. I love you all. All right, so Kadash Shalom. If anybody needs me, hit me up. All right, we will be participating in keeping the new moon, the Most High's day, holy. All right, yeah, that's it. Nobody anything want to say? All right. So with that being said, y'all brought coming up by Shema Shekashai. Remember the Kadash. Remember the Shabbat day. Keep holy. Shalom.